Hey guys, Jasmine here, and I am so excited to be here and talking to you guys for another blogging Q&A. Welcome, 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 welcome. So, for those of you who are new, I do these calls every month where I like to talk about blogging with you guys and answer any questions that you may have about blogging. I always like to start by giving you all an introduction about myself. So I think I'll start there. And in the meantime, as everyone jumps in, go ahead and post in the comments who you are and where you're from. So I love to see all the different people who are watching. Oh, sorry, I used my nose. Okay, so while you guys do that, I'll go ahead and tell you all a little bit about myself. My name is Jasmine. I have a blog called Blogging Money Life, as well as a blog called Miss Millennium Magazine. I started my first blog, Miss Millennium Magazine, 10 years ago, and almost 11, actually 11 years in May. And yeah, I still love it. I've been blogging for that long, and I still enjoy it. What I enjoy more than blogging, actually, is talking about it with other bloggers and helping other bloggers find some of the success that I found in my decade of blogging experience. I got into blogging kind of accidentally. I like freelance writing. I was doing this for a number of different websites, and I learned that I can do this on my own, and found a way to not only create my own blog, but make money from it, using a number of different ways, from sponsored posts, affiliate marketing, and even creating products. So that is pretty much my blogging journey. Fast forward to today. That's how I got my first blog started. I actually recently started a new blog with my husband Chris called Blogging Money Life. And in this one, we talk exclusively about blogging, so teaching other bloggers how to make money with blogging, as well as sharing our experience. So one cool thing that blogging has allowed us to do is pick up and move from our home in Texas to Costa Rica. So we live in Costa Rica now, and having this blogging lifestyle played a big role as to why we were able to do that. So we like to not only teach blogging, but let people get an eye of what a blogging lifestyle could look like. So cool things. We launched Blogging Money Life in August. I'm happy to say so. It's still pretty new. For those of you who are newer bloggers and wondering, is it still worth it to blog in 2022? And I'm going to say yes, because not only did we just launch our blog in August, but it is already making money. So it is definitely possible to still launch a blog and bring in income with it. So all that to say, I still love blogging. It's something that definitely brings me joy and excitement and money. So what's not to like about that? What I wanted to talk about today, obviously I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have. So if you have questions during any time during this call, go ahead and post them in the comments, and I will make sure to get an answer for you. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting for questions to come in, I love to have a topic to talk about with you guys, because there's so much to learn, there's so much to do when it comes to blogging, and I personally think that, the more information you have, the better. And I also like using this as an opportunity to kind of talk about what I'm doing currently, what my focus has been on my blog with you guys, and share the knowledge that I know. So the topic for today is one that I feel like I've talked about before, and I noticed I get a lot of questions about this topic on previous Q&As. And this is what led me to say, hey, let's just talk about it for, this session, because I think it's an important topic, and it's one that I think a lot of lawyers have questions about. So today I want to talk all about SEO, also known as search engine optimization. Now, I want to start by telling you guys my journey when it came to SEO, because it was one of those buzzwords that when I first started blogging, I'm like, what is an SEO? What does that mean? What does it stand for? Should I be doing it as a blogger? I know there are a lot of bigger websites that are doing SEO, but it wasn't something that was all that trendy within the blogging, realm. I know a lot of internet marketers for using SEO and talking about this term, but not necessarily bloggers. And in the years that I have been blogging, I noticed that there's a trend when it comes to SEO. It goes up and down. SEO has always been there. I'm just going to point that out. And where most bloggers are getting their organic traffic varies. That's the part that trends. And I kind of wanted to talk through my experience with that. But before I do that, I want to start by just talking about what is it, right? For some of you, you're probably in the same position that I was when I first started blogging. You start hearing all these buzzwords like KPIs and SEO and SMM, and it's really easy to get caught up in the jargon and not understand. I don't know what that means. I'm going to stick to what I know. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and the magic of SEO is that you're getting traffic to your blog organically, meaning for free, right? And who doesn't want free traffic to their blog? Now you may be wondering, what's the difference between free traffic I get from social versus free traffic that I get from search engine optimization? And the answer is easy. When it comes to social, think about it, like when you're on TikTok or Facebook, you're not exactly searching for something. You're scrolling. You're looking at what's available, what content is there, and there's a lot of content vying for your attention to take you off of that social media platform, whether it be a blog post or a news article or something like that. Search engine traffic or search engine optimization is different because when you go to a search engine, let's say, for example, Google, you are looking for something specific. And because people are looking for something specific, you can kind of look at what their motives are. Like I'll go and scroll on Instagram when I'm bored, or, you know, if I want to see what my friends are up to, not necessarily because I'm looking for a specific article, which is what makes SEO so important, right? Because if you are writing an article, for example, on, let's see, top 5 dresses for New Year's Eve, let's say that for example, people are going to search, and someone who is searching for dresses is probably more than likely going to spend money on dresses. This is good for you because, one, you're getting the exact traffic that you want to that article, right? People who are searching for dresses, and you just happen to have written an article about top dresses to wear on New Year's Eve. And the other part of this is if you have affiliate links in that article, well, now you're about to make some money because you have the right audience going to a specific article, and yeah, they're probably more likely going to purchase. So I have found that my big come-to-Jesus with SEO has been how much money you can possibly make when it comes to implementing good SEO strategies along with good affiliate strategies. I did a video last year where I was experimenting, just testing out some theories and going through some tips that I learned from different blog posts and courses that I took on affiliates and SEO, combined them. And after implementing these strategies, I had a $10,000 month on my blog with just, well, it was $10,000 a month, but I think more than half of that was from affiliates. So yeah, it was just a really good month, and it didn't take long either, as long as I implemented those strategies for SEO and affiliates. So tying those two things together, very important. So if you're wondering, okay, why is SEO important? One, it's important because you're getting free traffic. And two, it's important because you're getting traffic that is going to do the action that you want them to do. Now, you may not always want someone to buy something, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're looking for a specific audience of, let's say, people who are knitters, right? You want people who knit to come to your blog, and that's your blog topic, and you want them to explore. You want them to look at your other topics about knitting. You want them to sign up for your email list. And you can build a relationship with people because that's the exact person that you're targeting. So yeah, that's SEO in a nutshell, and also like why is it important? For a period of time, I didn't know if I needed to do SEO on my blog, and I learned about some very, very basic things you can do on your site for SEO without really going in depth with it. Some of those things were downloading a plugin called Yoast. And if you don't have this plugin already, I definitely recommend you download it. It's free to use, and it is one of those tools where it just checks to see that you have keywords that you're focusing on your article, and also that you are, I'm having a link to you guys. So you have keywords in your article, and also that you are putting those keywords in the right places and not spamming your content with a specific keyword, so because that can turn Google off as well. And that's about it. It tells you what to do. It gives you a little green face on it if you do everything they say that's good for SEO, and you're done. That's pretty much all I did for years when it came to SEO, and it made a difference. It did help when it came to me getting more organic traffic, but organic was not even close to being my top traffic driver. So, I wanted to look more into what could I possibly do to improve SEO on my website. And I want to talk to you guys about some of those top strategies for me that I thought was the most helpful when it came to building my website's SEO. So just to give you a quick overview of what this looks like for me, prior to me implementing these strategies, I would say maybe about 20%, I'm lying on that. 30% of my traffic was coming from organic search engines. Someone asked, what tool did you just mention? I missed it. Oh, the tool I mentioned is called Yoast, and I put the link in the comments, so you should have that. It's free to download, and it's a plugin you put on a WordPress site. So definitely go ahead and check it out. All right, so we talked about why SEO is important and how it can benefit you financially and with traffic on your blog. And I want to talk a little bit more about what some of those strategies look like for SEO and what my journey was when it came to doing my SEO. And what I was saying was I was getting about 30% of my traffic organically, which is not a whole lot. Most of my traffic from was coming from social media, mostly from Pinterest, because I spent a good deal of time focusing on social, because for years that was what people said to do. Like, they were saying, oh, Google is going to change your algorithm again. Don't even spend any time focusing on SEO because they're going to just change it, and you might as well look at different traffic strategies. Now, this was in, what year was this? Like early 2010s. So when I was hearing this whole, don't worry about Google, they change your algorithm again, so SEO is not as important. And I feel like to a degree that mentality still kind of goes on because Google can change your algorithm anytime. Why would you not focus on these other social media channels where you can get a lot more traffic and it's free? Especially if that changed to when Google started doing paid ads, right? Because then they were saying like, oh, Google wants you to pay, so that's why you shouldn't focus on Google. So I didn't. For a long time, I focused on social, and that's why social was my top traffic source. But I knew that there was a lot of opportunity for me to grow. What I did, after I took those courses I told you guys about, I knew I had to invest in another tool, a tool that would help with my SEO overall. And that tool that I decided to go with was called SEMRush. Now, I decided to go with this tool after doing a lot of research and also just figuring out which ones were the easiest, I guess, to work with. And honestly, I came down to two, Ahrefs and SEMRush. SEMRush has a free version of it, and I already had an account on it because I was using their free version for some small things. So I went with SEMRush, honestly. See, Khadija joined us, and she is from North Carolina. Hey, Khadija, thanks for joining. Feel free to share your questions in the comments if you have any about blogging, and I'll be sure to get an answer for you. While you're here, just a reminder, today I'm talking about SEO, and if you have a question that's not related to SEO, that is perfectly okay. Go ahead and post it in the comments, and I will get an answer for you as well. So I was just telling you guys about my favorite SEO tool, which is called SEMRush. And hold on, I'm going to try to get you guys a link for it, because if you use my link to sign up, for SEMRush, you should get a pretty good discount. And I can't remember how much discount it is, so you have to check it out. But that's my link if you want to check it out. Like I said, they do have a free version with some of their tools, but not all of them. So it's still worth checking it out anyway, even if you don't want to spend. So I invested in this tool. It's not cheap. I'm just going to throw it out there now to use. And I figure because this is a tool that I would have to pay for, I'm going to just give all my effort into making sure that I'm using it and it's actually going to pay off for me. So I was very dedicated to this. You know, at least 20 to 30 minutes a day working on how to use the tool and different things I can do to improve my site overall with SEMRush. Okay, I'll tell you the big things that I did that made the biggest difference for my blog. The first thing I did is download a plugin for SEMRush, and I think they call it their SEO optimizer plugin. I think you can just search for SEMRush plugin and put it on WordPress. And it was similar to Yoast, in which it will give you a check mark and green, like a little good score on WordPress if you're doing well with it, as far as like getting your keywords and things like that. So I was familiar with how the layout was. But what made this tool different from Yoast, the one I told you guys before, is you have to have your keywords already. So you have to go to SEMRush and say, okay, I just wrote this article about 10 best dog foods, and the keywords I would have ranked for are what are the best dog foods, and dog food for new pet owners. Oh, my audio's been muffled. Sorry about that. Let me get my headset so that I don't have a muffled audio here. Give me a second, guys. I want to make sure that you can hear me okay. Okay, so hopefully that makes a difference. Let me just make sure that my mic is connected to you guys. Okay, mic. Hello. Okay, hopefully that made a difference. Can you hear me okay? All right. Let me know if that made a difference as far as the overall audio. I want to make sure that I'm not too muffled. And this should do some noise canceling because it is a little echoey in my office here. Okay, so jumping back in, I know that something that I did on my site to make it so that it was a little bit more SEO friendly was download this plugin, which is the SEO writing tool. And as I mentioned, you had to come with keywords that you, oh, perfect. Great. Thanks you guys for confirming that the audio is much better. So you come with keywords, you plug it in, and what SEMRush does is it searches for all the other articles on Google that are ranking, that are ranking for those keywords you're trying to rank for. And then it scrolls through all of their articles and sees what other keywords are in those articles that make it so that they rank higher on Google. So if I put in like 3 keywords, it's going to come back with like 15 more keywords that I should add to my article so that I can rank higher for the specific keywords I'm targeting, which is awesome because now I'm actually competitive with some of these other articles that are ranking pretty high on Google. So that tool, that one alone within SEMRush was very helpful for me, but it did lead to another problem. How the heck do I figure out what keywords I should be putting in my article? And the good thing about SEMRush is it's a platform. I can't call it a tool because it's a platform with like multiple tools. There are so many tools you can use within it to improve your SEO. And one of those tools is a keyword research one. And what you can do is say, hey, I want to write an article about dog food. And what SEMRush will do is come to me and say, okay, here are all the keywords we thought of about dog food.
and it'll give you a score of like how competitive it is, how many people are searching for it, and so on and so forth. Before SEMRush, I was already using a tool called Keywords Everywhere, which is a pretty inexpensive tool. Like if you are going to invest in a SEO tool today, I would highly recommend Keywords Everywhere, so you can do keyword research. Here, I'm going to get, I don't have an affiliate link for this one, but I'm going to share the link with you guys because it's pretty awesome and it's not that expensive. So the way it works is it goes by credits. So you can buy, I think, 100,000 credits on Keywords Everywhere for $10. And every time you search, that counts as 1 credit. And the way you would use it is you search on Google for that keyword. So going by my same example, I would search dog food on Google, and the Keywords Everywhere Chrome extension will say, okay, you have had 1,000 people search for this keyword in the last 30 days, and the competition is 0.56 or whatever. When it comes to using Keywords Everywhere, my rule is I want any keyword that has over 100 searches a month and has a competition score of less than 0.20. So I'm going to repeat that for those of you who want to use this tool and try it out for yourself. My key that I go by is the keyword has to have at least 100 searches per month and have a competition of less than 0.20. And that's how I determine if it's a good keyword or not. I do that for about 3 keywords, and I plug it into the SEMRush plugin in WordPress. And from there, SEMRush gives me a list of like 10 other keywords I can plug into my article. Now, that has made a tremendous difference, just me doing that, and me getting more organic traffic to my blog. Now, I see I have some comments and questions here, so I'm going to address those. And after that, we'll talk more about my journey when it came to SEO and some of the strategies that I've implemented. So Chris says, is there a free version of SEMRush? And the answer to that is yes, there is. You can go to SEMRush right now. I put the link in the comments not too long ago. And I shared the link, my affiliate link for SEMRush. You can sign up there. You don't have to use a credit card or anything. And the free version just gives you limited options for some of the tools that they have. Now, the plugin that you add to your WordPress site that I just mentioned, that is on their paid version. So you wouldn't be able to use that tool on the free version. But there are a lot of other tools. I think you can do keyword research for free on SEMRush and some other things. So that's a good question. Yeah, definitely you can sign up for it. It's free for some of the tools. And they also have really good training. So you don't have to buy SEMRush in order to go through their whole SEO training. They have a lot of free courses and things like that you can go through to learn more about what SEO is and what are some of the good strategies. Just expect that they're probably going to talk about their tool in some of those teachings. But I think it's a great tool. I signed up thinking I was only going to use it for a few months because it's expensive, like I mentioned, but it paid for itself within those few months. And I said, it's worth it. It's worth every penny for me to have it. So that's my little 2 cents about SEMRush. And then I saw there was another question here. Can you do keyword research for SEMRush? So yeah, that's another good question. Yes, you can. And the only reason I talked about Keywords Everywhere is because that's the one I was using prior to signing up for SEMRush. But yeah, they have something very similar. You can search on their platform for a certain keyword. They'll give you a competition score as well as how much search traffic you're getting. The only thing with that is they have a different kind of scoring system as far as like the competition versus how much traffic. But what is easy to understand about SEMRush, like what is a good score, they'll give you a little green, yellow, or red signal for the competition. So I just do what they tell me if I'm doing keyword research there. Like if it's a keyword and it has a little green circle next to the competition, I'll go with that and go from there. So Yeah, good question. Good question. You guys keep the questions coming. You can ask about the topics I'm talking about here today, which is SEO, or you can ask questions about anything else blogging related. That is what I'm here for. So keep them coming for sure. So prior to me getting to some of those questions that I had in the comments, I talked a little bit about um, what strategies I implemented to grow my traffic, my organic traffic on my blog. And one of them were signing up for SEMRush and using their plugin on WordPress that allows you to add different keywords to your article, right? That other articles that are trying to rank for that same keyword are ranking for. So I did that. The other thing I did is I started doing keyword research for my articles. And for that, I use a tool called Keywords Everywhere. I think if you take anything away from our call today, I think the most important thing um, to take away as far as something you can do for SEO on your site is keyword research. Like I thought I was doing a good job, like implementing keywords on Yoast, because Yoast is the same where you can just plug in what keywords you want to rank for. And I wasn't doing any keyword research. And I'm like, man, I put these keywords in my article and it's not ranking on Google. Well, because I didn't check to see, is anyone even searching for this keyword on Google? And if people are searching, how many people are actually searching? So that made a significant difference when I did keyword research. So whatever tool you use, whether it be SEMRush or Keywords Everywhere or some other keyword tool, you want to make sure that you are doing keyword research for every single article that you write. Because honestly, when it comes to your blog, every blog has a goal. And this was something that it took a while for me to understand when I was blogging. When I first started, I'm like, oh, I just went to the mall and it was a good experience. I'm going to blog about that. And I didn't do any keyword research. I didn't think about my audience and if they want to hear this story from me or what information they're going to take so that they can grow or learn or subscribe. I was just writing about what I wanted to write about. So once I started implementing keywords into my content and giving each blog post a purpose, that was a game changer for me. So I highly recommend taking that away. If you're not doing keyword research before you write a blog post, you are doing yourself a disservice. Definitely make sure you're doing that. Have a question here from Jody Ann Smith. She says, is key search a great tool for keywords? You know, I've heard of key search, but I personally have not used that one. So I can't say one way or the other. Honestly, what I've seen, because I use Ahrefs as a keyword tool. I know Google AdWords has a free keyword searching tool. I've used Google Search Console just to see like what keywords people are searching for already on my blog. SEMRush, and I told you guys my favorite already, which is Keywords Everywhere. I honestly feel like they all do the same thing. They just have a different method of how they do it. My only feedback I would say when deciding on a keyword tool is one, make sure it's one that's affordable or one that, you know, that's within your budget, because I feel like I've seen them across the range, really expensive ones to some that are fairly priced to many that are free. There are a lot of free keyword research tools. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. Just make sure that you understand what constitutes as a good keyword versus a keyword that is not a good one. And you want it to be one that gets a good amount of traffic to your site. You don't want anything that only gets like, if you have a keyword that's only 10 people are searching for it a month, that's not going to bring a whole lot of traffic into your site. Because if you think of it like this, do you really think all 10 of those people are going to click on your article? And even if they do, you know, 10 searches for that keyword probably isn't going to do all that great. However, if you have a keyword that gets 2,000 searches a month, okay, now we're cooking. But if it's too competitive, where you're never going to show up on page one for it, it's also not a good keyword. So you have to find that balance between it not being too competitive and getting enough traffic to it. So that's what I would say to that, Jody Ann. But good question, really good question. Another question from my lovely Christophe. He says, why is SEO so important? So for those of you who may have missed this in the beginning, I talked a little bit about the importance of SEO because the main reason for that is because it's, one, good for traffic to your blog for free. Who doesn't want that? And then two, it's good for getting the good traffic to your blog. So thinking about people you actually want to target. I know one thing that I experienced with Miss Millennia is I wanted to target millennial women who had just graduated from college. And when I actually looked at my audience to see who was coming, I was getting a lot of new moms who some had never been to college or never completed college before, and they were interested in blogging. And it's nothing more like frustrating when you're like trying to think about what product to create and you're thinking of a certain audience and that is not the audience that is on your blog. So it's good to make sure that you're getting traffic to your site from a specific audience that is going to benefit you. So SEO allows you to get the targeted traffic that you want to your blog there, and you can do it for free. So I think those are the reasons: traffic, getting the right traffic, but also being able to make money. I talked about how I implemented a strategy on my blog, Miss Millennia, to implement good keywords in SEO with specific affiliates that I was promoting. And I actually did a video on YouTube not too long ago where I talked about how I implemented some strategies. And from one affiliate program, I made over $4,000 in a single month just from that affiliate program. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits for SEO. Getting good traffic to your site is probably one of the big ones. Good question. Good question. All right, I'm going to switch to Khadijah's question. Khadijah says, what are the best platforms to get more traffic for SEO? Google or Pinterest or both? Oh, Khadijah, I love this question because this is one of the big things I have on my list to talk about today, because I feel like this is the big debate in the blogging community right now. Should I be focused on Pinterest or should I be focused on Google? Because for a long time, a lot of us bloggers were told, don't even worry about Google. The algorithm is going to change. What we really need to focus on is Pinterest, because Pinterest was actually created for bloggers. Pinterest is a search engine and it's made with us in mind. We can link to our blog posts and they love it and people are going to search for it and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So the long story short answer to your question is both. I think we should be focused on both platforms. There's a lot of negativity about Pinterest lately because they have recently updated their algorithm, and it has negatively affected a lot of bloggers, myself included, as far as the amount of traffic I was getting. I was getting so much awesome free traffic from Pinterest. Like I mentioned before, I started doing some of these SEO strategies for Google. Most of my traffic was coming from Pinterest, and that's because I took different courses. I was always working on ways to optimize. And not only did the strategies that used to work for Pinterest don't work as well as they used to, but Pinterest is making you work a lot harder for a lot of that traffic. Now, what I will say about Pinterest versus Google, even though Pinterest is not having the best time right now as far as like pissing a lot of bloggers off, they're still going to be around. They're always going to be a factor when it comes to bloggers. Going back to why so many bloggers were initially excited about Pinterest was because they were created with bloggers in mind. They saw how many blogs were being created and saw this as an opportunity for people to easily get to blog content. I think for those who are saying, don't even get on Pinterest, it's not worth it, I don't think that's the best advice, because they're going to have their day again where everybody is pissed at Google and going back to Pinterest, and they're going to be behind. So I think it's important to get traffic on SEO for Google and for Pinterest. That's my feedback. I would say look at what strategies are working best for you. If you see on your site that you're getting more Pinterest traffic than you are from Google, I will focus on Google and see how you can build that up and then come back to Pinterest, because you're already getting some traffic from Pinterest, right? If it's the other way around, where you're getting more traffic from Google than you are from Pinterest, I would go to Pinterest, figure out strategies to grow there, and then go back to Google. just so that you can make sure you're keeping them balanced. So that is a great question. I'm so glad you asked it, Khadisha, and I hope my answer is helpful. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, you guys just keep them coming. Really good questions coming in here. Jody Ann Smith says, how often should I blog in order to bring more traffic to the blog? 1 per week, 2 weeks? Any thoughts? Okay, this is a good question. And my question for you, Jody Ann, is how much blog content can you write consistently? If you can consistently write 1 blog post a week, great. If you can do 3 a week, even better. Now, when people ask this question about how often should I blog to bring in more traffic, the answer is as many as you can. Every time you publish a blog post, you're more than likely sharing it on social media. And that means you're probably seeing a little spike in traffic because you are sharing. That's another article that's being indexed on Google. So you're creating some more organic traffic to your site. So the more articles you can publish per week is how you get more traffic. Now, the problem is as soon as you stop writing that number of articles per week, you're going to lose your momentum. Google, from an SEO perspective, is looking at your site and they're saying, hey, I noticed this is a new blog, but they always publish their content on Wednesdays. So I'm going to crawl their site on Wednesdays to make sure I don't miss this new article that comes out. Now, what happens when you don't publish on a Wednesday and they go, oh, this website usually publishes on a Wednesday. I don't know when they publish then. So I'm just going to crawl it randomly next week because I don't know when they're going to be published. And that's an article that could possibly be missed as far as being indexed automatically on Google. So that's something to think about. Consistency is more important than how much content you publish. Just make sure that it's something that you can stay consistent with as far as how often you publish. As far as my example I just gave you, there's a way to get around that. I'm just going to throw in another SEO tip here. Anyone who has, if you have Google Analytics or any other Google products, you can sign up for a free Google Search Console account, right? So just go on Google, search Google Search Console and create a free account. You're going to have to link your blog to it to show that you own it. They're probably going to ask you to put some code on your site or something and prove that you put it there. And from there, every time you publish a new blog, you can submit the link to Google Search Console. And this is pretty much you're into Google saying, hey, Google, I just published a new article. I want you to index it because I know you're not all that consistent about crawling my site. So here's an article for you. Go ahead and index it so it shows up on search. And that'll help you with that part. But not just from a Google perspective with consistency, is also good for your audience. If they know that your article is going to be published on Wednesdays, you're going to see a spike on Wednesdays because people are there to see that article that gets published. I know for me and Chris, our blog, we publish something every Monday and now Thursdays. And even if we do not publish an article on Mondays, because we're not always the most consistent, we make mistakes too, we still see a spike on our blog on Mondays because our audience who are used to our content going out are there and looking for the new article. So just food for thought. Consistency is what really matters here. Really, really good question. I love it. All right. Man, you guys have some really good questions. Oh, Jody Ann, she added 1 per week with her schedule. Good. Do 1 per week and stick with it and you'll be good. It'll grow, not as fast as you did like 3 or 4 articles per week, but consistency is what matters the most. So really good question. I love it. All right. I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, okay. So this is a good question from Chris. He says, how can I measure if my blog has good SEO? And that's a good question because, how can you determine what's good and what's bad and how has it improved versus not improving? So you should have a free Google Analytics account. I know some of you who are probably more stats savvy or more into the details probably have something a little bit more robust than that. I just have Google Analytics because it gets the job done for me. But when you go into Google Analytics, you can look at where your traffic acquired is coming from. They usually have it broken down by category. So you have like social, you have organic, you have referrals, I think. And what you want to go to is organic. And what's cool about this is because it'll break it down for you. Whenever I'm talking about SEO, I always throw out Google, 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 but Google is not the only search engine. I'm glad that Khadisha brought up Pinterest. I know Pinterest usually falls into the social media category, but really it's a search engine. The same thing goes, there's still Bing, there's some search engines I'm always shocked that people are finding me from. I can't even tell you what their names are, they're so small, but yeah, you could be getting traffic from all of those. So Google Analytics will tell you what channels are actually bringing in SEO for you. But the big way you can tell is by looking at the percent change over time. So when I first started telling you guys my journey, I said that I was getting about 40% of my traffic from organic search. So that's free, unpaid SEO traffic. And then once I implemented the strategies that I'm telling you guys about today, using SEMRush, doing keyword research beforehand, optimizing my articles using the SEMRush plugin, I went from 40% of my traffic coming from organic search to 60%. So it definitely increased to the point where most of my traffic now comes from organic Google SEO. So those little things definitely pay off. It may seem insignificant, like, oh, this is so not sexy, as far as like something to do to improve SEO. Keyword research is where it's at, y'all. So it makes a big, big difference. So really good question, Crystal. That's how you measure. Check your analytics and see how much organic traffic you're getting from analytics, and then compare it to how you're doing after you implement some of these changes that I'm talking about today. And that's a good way to really measure how it works. Oh, Chris added a comment. He said, Google crawls our site regularly since we publish content consistently. Yep, that is true. We also make sure that once we publish an article, we double check to see if it's indexed on Google. Even if you are consistent, Google is not perfect and they do miss crawling your site sometimes. So it's good to definitely submit it to Google Search Console whenever you publish a new article. So good tip there. Okay, I have another question from Jody Ann Smith. So she says, is TikTok good for a blogger to bring in traffic? For Instagram, now that I can add links to my story, that is bringing in some traffic, but what about TikTok? Okay, this is a really good question. And I was actually just having this conversation with my husband, Chris, because social is always interesting when it comes to bloggers. So I'm about to date myself, but hear me out. When I first started blogging, the only social media platforms there were for us to really share our content was Facebook and Twitter. That is all that existed. And yeah, at that time, the big social media that started while I was still blogging was Instagram. And I remember feeling intimidated by Instagram because I'm like, I don't understand it. I don't know exactly like how it works. It's so different from Twitter and Facebook. I'm just going to hold back. But all the while, I saw all the bloggers who were not afraid of trying a new platform, taking off. Like they were on Instagram, barely doing anything and getting thousands upon thousands of followers. And then you look at that and you're like, how the heck are you doing that? I can't do that on Facebook. I can't do that on Twitter, at least not to this degree. So when it comes to a new social media platform, it pays to get there first. If you find that there's a platform that is taking off and people are growing rapidly, you want to be there and you want to be there early because it is easier for you to get traffic, to get more traffic on that new platform than it is for you to get traffic on a platform that is already talking about ads and all these other things. I've seen it happen with Instagram. I've seen it happen with Pinterest. I've even seen it happen with Google. Like there was a point where people were getting so much free traffic from Google, and then Google implemented their advertising and people were saying like, oh, I'm not getting as much traffic from there anymore. So get there first. If you're not a blogger on TikTok, you should be on there. especially if you already have video content that you can share. So to answer your question, Jody Ann Smith, yes, TikTok can definitely bring in traffic for you. I'm not practicing what I preach right now because it is something that I have not implemented, but I swear to you that is something that we are discussing as far as getting more content on TikTok, because it's a lot easier to get way more traffic on TikTok right now than it is on Instagram, because Instagram is saturated. Everyone wants to get, to a certain amount of followers and grow faster, and so on and so forth. So yes, I think it's good to be on TikTok. All the bloggers that I know that are doing well are on TikTok. And at this point, I don't think you're necessarily a laggard getting on TikTok now, but you're somewhere on that top part of the popularity bell. There's a lot of people jumping on right now, but still room for you to grow and get some good free traffic while it's still hot. Good question. Yeah, Julianne says, awesome. Yes, I have a page, but I need to be more active. Same, I have a page. It's blank. I need to get more active too. We'll get active together, Julianne. All right, y'all, these are some really good questions. I am loving it. I'm going to continue on my story with SEO. If you have questions about SEO or anything else blogging, go ahead and post them in the comments, and we'll go from there. So I talked about some strategies that worked for me when it came to building up my blog traffic with SEO. And I went from 40% of my traffic coming from SEO to 60% of my traffic coming from SEO based on these strategies that I'm telling you guys about today. So make sure you're keeping note. I already told you I put the SEMRush plugin on my site. That made a big difference. I started doing keyword research using the Keywords Everywhere tool. That made a huge difference. I started submitting all my blog posts that got published to Google Search Console. That made a difference too. Something else I did is I went through all my content on my site and looked to see, is it all being indexed by Google when I publish it? Because I had just started doing this indexing thing, and it was something I was doing for my new content, but I didn't really do it for my older content. I have a lot of content on my site, you guys, over 2,000 articles. I've been blogging for a long time. And when I did this practice where I went through all my old content to see what was indexed on Google and what was not, 50% of my articles were not indexed on Google. So if you have not been submitting your articles to Google, you want to make sure that you are going back through that content and submitting it to Google Search Console to make sure that it has been indexed. That is going to make a big difference in your traffic organically if you do that. So really good strategy there as far as like what I implemented. Let me think of one more thing I did for you guys when it came to building up my organic traffic. Another thing I did was I started looking at SEO tactics of things to put into your article. And some of those things involved, I'm just going to put these into one tip together because it was one of those things that it's always changing as Google changes. And I highly recommend you look into how to optimize a blog post for SEO. Here are some things that I did. One, adding YouTube videos to your blog posts. So Google looks at how much time people are spending on your site. So if someone clicked on a keyword, went to your article, and they spent 4 minutes there, they're looking at that and saying, hey, they found their answer and we're going to move this higher up on the totem pole as far as like search. So adding a YouTube video increases that time so that people spend more time on your article and you get that higher score with Google. It also helps because Google wants the most complete piece of content at the top of the search. And if you have a YouTube video, let's say one that's already doing well on YouTube, and you embed it on your site for more information, that's going to be helpful. So implementing that makes a big difference. Google also has these things where you add blocks to WordPress, like an FAQ. So if you add a little FAQ section to the bottom of your article with some questions that other people are asking specifically about that topic. So I gave you guys the example of dog food, right? If you search dog food on Google, some questions you may get are, what are some dog foods that don't have pesticides in it? Or what dog foods are best for this breed of dog? Or what's the best price dog food? If you put those questions at the bottom of your article and then answer them, that is going to give you some major points with Google. So that's a good one. Having an article that's over 2,000 words. Another way to get people to stay on your site for a longer period of time is giving them more content to review. So that's another tip that you can do. So really, some of the tactics. Those are just some of the ones I'm thinking of on the top of my head. There are so many things like that you can do to an article to optimize it. I recommend just doing a Google search and seeing what some of those other things are to optimize your content, because that's going to pay off big too. And it's another way that you can definitely focus on just improving your content that you already have written. It's an easy way to improve it, put a new date on it, and then republish it and submit it to Google so that they know that you updated this content. Oh, this is a really good comment. The Laura Twin said, headline analyzer is great as well. It's so funny you say that because I also use that tool. Just so you guys know, the headline analyzer tool is a free tool you can use, and it allows you to put your headline into this tool to say if it's going to rank well or not for people to click on it. That is one of the first things people see, and it helps them determine if they're going to click on your article and read. So yes, this is something we implemented. It is in our strategy for every blog post that we add to our site. So really good comments. I appreciate you sharing that. Jody Ann Smith has another question. She says, another question. How do you build backlinks? I have used Hero and did get one feature. What's your take? Okay, so just a quick overview about backlinks for people who don't know about the strategy. Backlinks is how you get votes. Think of a backlink as a vote on your site to Google. So it's like me saying, all right, I'm Jasmine and I have a score of 10, and this is my friend Jody Ann Smith. She has a score of 2. I like Jody Ann Smith, so I'm going to give her a vote. So now instead of her having a score of 2, she's going to have a score of 3. So every time you have another website that has a higher rank than yours, and they put a link to your website on their site, that improves your site. I hope that didn't sound super confusing the way I just explained that. Hopefully you guys can pause and rewind if that just sounded confusing. But that was a quick overview about backlinks. It's important to have them because the more backlinks you have, the higher your rank on Google. And the higher your rank on Google, the more prestigious your blog is. And it's not exactly tied to traffic. You know, it kind of is, but you can have a high rank, backlink rank, and not necessarily get more traffic to your blog. But this is something that Google is looking at when they're trying to determine whose blog shows up first or whose website shows up first on search engines. If you and another site is doing the exact same things and you're talking about a very similar topic, they're going to rank the website that has a higher domain authority above your article than above yours, because they have a higher domain authority. So it's one of those things where it's a factor in getting more organic traffic to your site. Now, as far as how to get backlinks, I'm actually a subscriber on Hero as well. Hero is a free website. It stands for Help a Reporter Out. And it used to be where you can find different reporters or publicists, people who have a certain topic and they want to be featured in your website. And then you can use it vice versa too. If there are people who are saying, I'm looking for topics about this so I can write about it on my site. And it's a good way to get backlinks. As far as other backlinks, what I did when I first heard about this strategy is I found different websites where it was easy. I went the easy route and the low-hanging fruit. So I found blog directories and I listed my site there because they had a higher domain authority than me. Another strategy I did is I commented on other blogs saying like, hey, this is a great blog. I have a blog post about this similar topic. Here's a link to it. So that was another strategy, commenting for other bloggers. And then another strategy that I implemented was guest posting. So a lot of times I would find a blog that had a similar topic to mine, and we would make some type of arrangement. Now, you don't have to do it this way, because you can just contact blogs that have like, hey, we're looking for guest bloggers, and we'll do a link back to your site. And that's perfectly fine to do it that way. But what I did is I found bloggers who had similar audience, like a lot of millennial bloggers is who I targeted. And I said, hey, let's work together. How about you write one article a month for me, and I write one article a month for you? And we did this exchange for a few months. And that's how I built up my domain authority. That's probably what I implemented the strongest, or I think that made the biggest impact on my blog as far as like building my domain authority. So yeah, that's one way to do it. Another thing you can do on top of what Jody Ann is talking about here for Help a Reporter Out is go through Facebook groups. So there are some Facebook groups that are just for finding people who are looking for roundups. And what a roundup is pretty much, it says like, I'm looking for 10 recipe posts for chili. So I can do an article that talks about the 10 best recipes for chili. And bloggers go in there and they share their recipes about chili in there. So now all you had to do is provide them with a link, and they're going to do the rest of the work to include your blog there. The only thing I would say for that is make sure that you're sharing it with websites that have a higher domain authority than you, so that it's actually paying off. But that is a really good question. I appreciate you asking about backlinks. Jody, I'm starting to think that you know more about SEO than you're letting on, just based on some of these these questions that you're asking. So good job. I like them. I love them. Okay, Kadisha asked, I don't know if you went over this yet, but how does SEO work with affiliate links? Okay, so I think they work well together. I love making money with affiliates via SEO. But I think you're asking specifically, if I put affiliate links in a blog post, is that going to decrease my SEO ranking? From what I've heard, yes, that is the case. Articles that have affiliate links in them don't typically do as well as articles that do not have affiliate links. However, I'm going to say that me adding affiliate links to articles that have been SEO optimized has not stopped me in the least as far as getting good traffic to a blog post. Actually, I don't SEO optimize articles that do not have affiliate links in them, because I think it's a waste of freaking time. If I'm going to drive all this traffic to my blog post, I want to make sure that I'm going to get paid for it. So when it comes to adding affiliate links, you want to make sure you are following the rules, meaning you want to make sure you're putting it as no follow for an affiliate link, because that's the rule when it comes to any links that you could possibly get paid for. They should be no follow as opposed to do follow. And yeah, from there, call it a day. Honestly, when I'm doing an affiliate article and I'm trying to think about keyword research, I search for that product first. A good example of this, one of my best affiliate articles, or one of my best SEO articles, was also one of my best affiliates. It was for a product called the Lumen Metabolism Tracker. I searched for Lumen Metabolism Tracker. At the time, it was still pretty popular, but not all that popular. It was enough where people were searching for it, but there still was not a whole lot of content out there. So I searched for like questions people were asking about it, like how much is the Lumen Metabolism Tracker? Or where can I buy the Lumen Metabolism Tracker? Or does the Lumen Metabolism Tracker actually work? And those are the type of questions you want to make sure you're answering in your blog posts. Think about questions you would ask before you make a purchase, because more than likely these people have already done their research on that particular product, and now they just need someone to convince them. They just need to answer this one last question and someone to put them over the edge. And yeah, it made a significant difference as far as how much traffic I got to that blog post and how much money I made. So I think they're a match made in heaven. As long as you're doing all those optimization things we talked about here today, it shouldn't affect you too badly as far as adding affiliate links to an SEO optimized article. Good question. Oh, wow. Oh, I love hearing this. So the Little Road Twin said, I got that from you. It's been a game changer. I love it. I'm so glad that tip helped. So yeah, headline analyzer tool. It's free. It's awesome, and it makes a big difference as far as you getting more traffic to your site. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Jody Ann said, I try to research as much as possible. Awesome. That is going to take you far with blogging. Just the fact that you're here tonight, as well as everyone else who's been here asking all these great questions. I think that you're going to go far as a blogger, just making sure you're doing your research and implementing and learning. So good job. I appreciate you being here and glad that you're working on building up your blog stuff. Oh, this is another good question. Is there a tool I can add to my browser to show me another blog's domain authority? Okay, yes, there is. There are several tools you can do for this. So I think the tool that is probably one of the most popular ones is Moz. So Moz is spelled M-O-Z. It's free. You do have to create an account, which is kind of annoying. I hate that I have to log into it. But you can put this into your browser for a Chrome extension browser. And before you go and send a guest post over to and say, I want to write an article for you, you can check that website to see what their domain authority is. Now, it also checks some other things like page rank, and I'm trying to think what else it does. I think that's about it for Moz. They check other stats, but that's the only one that I actually pay attention to. But that is a good point. That's a good tool to have if you're going to be doing things to build up your page authority or your domain authority. So make sure you implement that tool as well. It's another free one. All right. Yay. Okay, so Chris shared a link to my blog post, my YouTube video I told you guys about. So this is the one where I implemented some SEO strategies and some affiliate strategies, and it led to me making $4,000 in 1 month with one affiliate product. And this is just to give you guys some insight. I didn't know that much about affiliates. I was making like $50 to $200 a month with affiliate marketing prior to implementing some of the strategies we talked about today. So if you want to learn more about SEO and you want to learn about how to make money while implementing these strategies, this is a good video to watch. So definitely check it out. You guys, this has been amazing. I'm so glad that you guys came on and asked all these wonderful questions. I hope that you guys can join me next month when I'm going to be talking through another topic and also answering you guys' questions live. And if you have more questions when it comes to SEO or anything blogging, you can continue to post them in the comments. I usually watch these videos for a few days and get some answers to you guys. But thanks for joining. Good luck with your blogs. I hope that this information today was helpful, and I will see y'all next month. Bye, everyone.